edge rushers here. We go 10-1 like we did earlier in the year. Let me find my fucking 10. This got a little tougher for me here at 10. This was a very different draft class a month ago. You know, when JT was coming out and Jack Sawyer and the Ohio State boys were coming out, I like both of them a lot. So with them going back here, the 10 got a little tough here. I had a little tough time here.
I have a really solid 7.
I have 8.
My bottom 3 I should say bottom 2. Like, my bottom 2, I think, are more like guys that are going to come in and be more depth guys to start. They're not going to be like guys that are going to be pushing for starting jobs, maybe. More depth guys. But none that I really think are going to light your socks on fire. With that being said, I think there's potential for them to move up into starter caliber material, but I don't think my bottom 2 are starter caliber are going to be starters right away.
Yeah, I'm pretty much in the same thought process with my 7 to 10. I think there's a little bit of a prospect-y look feel to them, but I'll let you start. Let me hit with your 10.
Yeah, so my 10, I have Adisa Isaac out of Penn State.
Okay.
Obviously, I think Chop Robinson gets all the hype there from coming out of Penn State. Isaac is pretty decent. He's 6'4", 250. He's a senior, redshirt senior. He played a decent amount of ball. He's had his best season last year, so I think he kind of moved himself into that day 2, into the day 2 rounds. PPF has him as an 80.2 run defense grade. I think that's where he plays a little bit better, is against the run versus the pass. I think his first step's not really quite there yet. I think he's one of them guys that I was just talking about. He's going to be a good depth guy, get you some reps and stuff in on defense. He's not going to be that guy you look to on third down to make the big play yet. I think he can turn into something very good. He has the size. He has the athleticism. I think he has to work on his pass rush a little bit, but I think the run defense is there, and I think that's where he's going to shine. I think a little bit more to start.
Yeah, and he's on my list here too. I'm a little higher on the list than you are. He's my 8.
Okay.
So I'll give you my red dental winner while we're here. I do think he's a very well-rounded defender. I don't think he does anything great. I think he's better against the run than he is against the pass. Yeah. So I think you will see him play more on early downs.
I agree 100% with that.
He does have a high motor though. He does play hard. He does get after it. He's fairly quick. Yeah. He can turn the corner, so he does have that ability. But I think you are getting a little bit of a project there. He has a very nice cross drop and a decent rip. So he does have some skills moves there.
I think he has the potential to be really good.
Yeah.
I just don't think he's there yet. I think he's a raw prospect.
I think he is a little raw. I think he's going to run 4.6-ish at the combine. But my biggest thing with him is his hands. He has very good handwork. He's very fast with his hands. He's very violent with his hands. And I think that's what you see with the cross and the rip. I think he can be a 3-down player in a couple year or two, but I do think he is like a 10 to 12 year NFL vet.
Yeah.
Not going to be I don't think he's a Pro Bowl caliber guy or a 10-15 sack kind of guy, but I think he's a very solid opposite guy if you're elite level pass rusher. My comp on him was kind of Jermaine Johnson-y-ish.
Yeah.
So I see a little bit in that there. Biggest cons on him for me, I think he lacks a little bit of strength at this point in his career. Not the twitchiest of athletes, and just a little bit of awareness, just trying to recognize the play. He's got to grow a little bit in that end. But I have him at 8. So 8, 10. There's not a whole lot of difference there.
I think our bottom 3 are going to be – my bottom 3 are very similar. I think my 9 – I'll let you get into your 10, but my 9 I think is a similar player, but a little bit more upside in my opinion.
Oh, so, yeah, for 10 for me was I have Cedric Johnson out of Ole Miss. He's 6'3", 265, not the highest rated on PFF, 65.9 and overall 68.7 in the pass rush there. Had 40 tackles this year, 5.5 sacks, did force a fumble. I think there's a solid chance he ends up moving inside or can move inside if you need him at the big league in the big leagues here. Did play 52 snaps in coverage this year, so he has a little bit of experience, dropping. Footwork's decent. He's a very good bull rush. That's kind of where he's at. He did make Feldman's freak list a couple years ago, so he is a very good athlete. He's got a very good first step and does compete. It does convert speed to power very well. He's got a nice spin move too. So he is very raw for me. I think that's his biggest thing. He's very, very raw. He's got to be a little more physical at the point of attack, inconsistent. And just he has a very good spin move, but there's no count. He doesn't have a counter move off it, and that's really where the rawness comes into.
Got to learn something else.
Yeah, he's got to
evolve your game a little bit
for sure.
Yeah.
I think he can be a contributor, early. Maybe play a little special teams as well.
Yeah.
But for me, I have a low end Preston Smith style of guy on him. I don't think he's as good as Preston Smith.
Right.
That kind of style is where I have him at 10.
All right. Jumping to my 9 here. So I have Brandon Dores at 4 as my 9. The reason I have him at my 9, I think the athletic ability is there to where if he can get a little bit more physical at the way he plays, I think he can be a freak. He did make Feldman's freak list at number 51. 6'3", 290. He has some big lifting numbers. A couple numbers I have here: 685 pound back squat, 685 pound sumo deadlift, and 345 pound power clean. And he's pretty quick. I think he'll throw some numbers at the combine that will move him up a little bit. But I mean, he's speed. Like, he has a lot of speed. I think that's kind of what he uses his game on. I think a couple weaknesses in the game, obviously, is his physicality. Like, for a guy that strong, he doesn't really use the physical end on his play. I think he needs to get a little bit of work with putting his hand in the dirt. So I think he's used more a little bit standing up, 2-point stance. I think getting down, putting his hand in the dirt, he'll do a little bit better that way. But I think he needs to. I think he lacks consistency a little bit.
Yeah,
so. I think he's a work in progress, but I think when we're talking our top 10 here, the bottom 3 guys are never going to be crazy good guys right now.
Now, I think if JT and Jack are coming out,
100%.
There's 10 legit dudes.
There's 10 legit dudes.
For sure.
Yeah. But with obviously with them not coming out,
I shot me both of them.
Yeah.
I could have seen one.
But yeah, I mean, obviously he jumps in the top 10 because of that, but I think there's a lot more. There's huge upside here with the athleticism that he has. I think he's going to put up some freak numbers at the combine. They're going to make people draft him a little bit higher. But this guy's a project no matter what way you look at it. I put him above Adisa Isaac because of that upside of his athletic ability. I think this guy can be a very good pass rusher, a third down pass rusher, like a very good. I can't see him being a really good 3-down guy all the time, like where he's just constantly going.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I don't have him in my 10. He's just outside for me.
I didn't have your 10 in my 10, by the way. So just let me know.
Yeah, I didn't figure.
Yeah, right.
I didn't figure all that one. Yeah, and for me, it was the inconsistency there and the no counter. The athleticism is there. Production was kind of a question mark there. But I do think if he has a good combine, he very easily could move into my 10. My 10 is definitely not set at 10. I think I'm probably reaching a little bit there for him. But I do think that he could have a good combine. He is a good athlete, a very, very freakish athlete. They could definitely potentially move up. My 9 was Jaylen Harrell out of Michigan. He's 6'4", 242, 7.69 overall on PFF, 85.7 in the pass rush. Doesn't play the run super great, 73.2 there. Did have 30 tackles, 2 sacks, 2 forced fumbles this year. His burst on his first step is very, very good.
Yeah.
Obviously, that Michigan line played very, very well.
Yeah.
Do expect him to run in the 4.5 range, 4.55-ish at the combine. Changes directions pretty well. Played 58 coverage snaps, so he can drop a little bit for you. He plays very strong. He's got good, not great bend, but solid bend. He does have pretty long arms too, which always helps the pass rusher and the motors there. He's got a good motor. Things he's got to work on it's kind of a reoccurring theme here in the bottom of the 10, bottom half of the 10. Doesn't have a counter move. Got to develop the counter. Plays out of control a little bit too much. He's got to play a little under control. He'll run out of pass, out of rush lanes and things like that. Their agility, his side-to-side movement, I question. We'll see. I'll kind of see what he does at the combine there. He could maybe alleviate some of that, and the arsenal of pass rush moves just isn't quite there. He is on the raw side, but I comp him to like a Lorenzo Carter kind of type deal.
Right.
So we'll see. So the combine he can do something to alleviate some of the concerns there.
Yeah.
But
all right, so you have that's your 9 there. My number 8 is actually his teammate. So I got Chris Jenkins as my 8.
I don't have Chris Jenkins on my D end on my edge because I do think he plays inside.
I put him on there. I think there's a chance he can play outside. I could see him falling into more of a because when I did this list, I didn't do just edge. I did kind of DN edge guys. I think this guy can be like a 5 technique. I think kind of where he might end up. Chris Jenkins though, very strong. He's real good against the run. Obviously, I think he needs to work on his pass rush a little bit. So I think that's kind of me and you do agree he'll move inside.
He played inside in college.
Yeah. So
that's the only reason why he's not on mine is because he'll be very, very high on my interior one once I do a deep dive on that.
Right.
Only reason why I don't have him there, but I'll be honest, I did consider putting him on mine because I do think he can move outside.
I think 100% he can. He's on Feldman's freak list. He's number 6 on the freak list. He has an elite swim move. His swim move is
absolutely weapon that.
And even when guys are blocking him, like the guy's just he's making plays. I think he can play anywhere on the defensive line.
I do too.
I think that's why I put him on this list. It'll be hard for me not to put him on the tackle list because I can see the pros and cons for either direction for the interior guys. So when I'm doing the interior guys, I'm going to want to put this guy on the list. I'll make sure I don't, but I had to put him on one of my lists regardless. But I think he's very good. I think he'll be a starter right away. I think he's going to wreck the run game a little bit, but I think obviously still some stuff he has to work on as far as maybe his athleticism a little bit and just reading or doing the pass rush and everything. I think his run game is his strongest asset right now. I think maybe getting a little bit quicker in the pass rush will help him a little bit. But,
that's why I have him projected inside just because of that. I think he's better in the run. I think he's better as a D tackle interior guy in the league. But I do think I did consider it for him.
I think he just needs, like when I say in the run game or in the pass game, I think he just needs that explosiveness off the line too. I think really is what lacks him the most. But obviously with him playing, if he's going to play inside, not the most important thing. But we'll see. We'll see what he does. Is he a 4-3 D end? Is he a 5 technique tackle? Like what is he? So,
yeah, I think he plays 4-3 D tackle, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I think that's where his perfect fit is in the league. But he
has the
can
size.
play outside.
He has the size. He's 6'3", 305, I think.
Yeah, he's big.
6'3", 305. He's big dude. Big dude. But yeah, that's where I have him. If we want to put him in at edge or not, but that's where I have him.
Yeah.
I think he's better than the other 2 guys I had on there, and I think
absolutely.
With the lack of the ends at the bottom of this list, I had to put him on here.
Yeah, I mean, there's more maybe value in it.
I didn't really see the value putting another guy on here and taking him off this list because I think even if he does play on the outside, I think he's still better than another guy I could have put on.
Yeah, and I'll save my kind of comps to him to my interior list. But I do really like him. I don't have any problem with having him on this list either. All the 8 for me was Isaac out of Penn State. We already hit on that, so we'll skip my 8 here. Moving on to number 7, I have a guy I really like, and honestly, I had a really hard time putting him this far down because I really do like him, but I do think these top 7 are all potential day 1 picks.
Yeah,
now, probably won't all 7 go, but they probably should.
Yeah, I think we probably have the same top 7. So
maybe different here. For me, it's 7. I have Jonah Ellis.
It's mine too.
Okay,
it's mine too.
Obviously, it's a football family.
Yeah.
His dad played, 10-year vet. He's got 3 brothers who have either played in the league or are in the league. Got one of them's on a practice squad. He's 6'2", 246. PFF's got him at an 84.8 overall, 90.1 in the pass rush. He had 37 tackles this year, 12 sacks, forced fumble. My pros on him here, very quick acceleration, gets off the ball very well. He's got a great grip and a hand swipe move. He's got good strength. He finishes sacks. There's not he makes you feel his sacks.
Yeah.
He's very solid against the run, not elite against the run, but he's very solid. And this guy, elite work ethic. This guy is elite.
He has a motor.
Elite as
he has a motor. That's one of my biggest strengths on him. I think his instincts are there. I think his football IQ is there. I think that's why I think this guy might go a little bit higher than what a lot of people might think. And like the dude, he has that flexibility getting around the edge. Like that, not a lot of guys on this list have that
very well.
Yeah. So you kind of said a lot of the stuff I was going to say about him already. There are a couple of things he can work on, like maybe getting off blocks a little bit better, like when guys engage on him. He's a little raw in that sense. So I mean, we'll see some of the improvements that he makes here, but.
And one of my bigger points on him too is that he's a very technical rusher. Like he's very advanced in his skill set. He's very good technique. He wins with technique a lot. I think he needs to put a little bit of weight on. I think that's his biggest calling for me. If he can put 10, 15 pounds on, come in at 260 and still run good, I think that would do a lot for him. I think he's got decent bend. Get a little more bendy there. I would like. And the injury history is the only real reason why I have him at 7 and not higher on my list. That is it was the deciding factor. I had him very, very similar grades on.
I'm curious to see who your comp is on him.
My comp is Alex Highsmith.
Okay. I have Karlaftis. I did George Karlaftis. Okay. I see a lot of similarities in his game.
I don't have a problem with that.
I just think the motor, how they play. I think Karlaftis was a little raw coming out too, but I think he's kind of worked on his ability to run game a little bit too. So I think that's kind of where I see Ellis.
I think Jonah Ellis can do a lot of different things in the league, and I think any team that gets him is really, really happy. But moving on, number 6 here, I have Chop Robinson at 6. Seriously?
Yeah. Sorry. I mean,
all right. It makes editing the video a little easier for me.
Yeah, we're making this a little easy, but I mean, I thought our top 6 would be very similar.
Yeah,
I'm curious to see where we have the top 4 guys. I think the top 4 guys. I think me and you might have a little bit of differences here, but I mean, I like Chop Robinson. I think he plays physical. I think he can get around the edge a little bit. I think might be like something off about him a little bit that I think he falls maybe to the end of the first round. I think he had a little bit of injuries and stuff here. I haven't quite put my finger on it as to why I think might fall a little bit, but I think
for me it's the production.
Yeah,
like you look at the guy as an athlete and as a prospect, and he is everything you want in a physical human being to be an absolute dominant pass rusher, and then just didn't dominate in college. Yeah, he only had 11.5 sacks and 3 years in college. Yeah, and I'm sorry, somebody with his athletic build and his physicality and his speed, and he has every single tool that you look for in an elite pass rusher. Yeah. And for some reason, it just didn't work. And he didn't play super great against the better tackles.
Yeah,
I mean he had some of his win rates in some of these games were like 50-60%, which is absolutely obscene. But then he'd have games where he's 15%.
Yeah,
and
I think he has to work on some of his hand moves and build some of his arsenal a little bit.
He's very raw.
Yeah, I mean, like I don't know. I think in a lot of other drafts, I think he's closer to the bottom of the top 10 list. Like if he comes out in like a really strong defensive end draft, I think he kind of falls to the bottom here. And I think a lot of people had him kind of like the top half of the first round, but with the other guys we have here in this top 5, I just don't see him just being those as a caliber player. Those other guys, I think there's certain things about his game that it's going to take some work. He's going to have to work on his hands a little bit. He's going to have to work on just taking that next step as a pass rusher. Do I think he can? Absolutely. I think he'll go into a good system with a good team. I could see like Chop Robinson maybe going to like somebody like the Packers or somebody
He's a potential
late in the first round.
Steal in this draft.
I had him. I think we
He's
had
a
him
wild
in our
card.
1.0. I think we had him. You had him to the Niners, and that's where I was going to take him if I had the odd picks. But you took him to the Niners.
Yeah,
I think that's a perfect place for a guy like him, just because he can learn and he doesn't have to be a guy right away. You have Chase Young and Nick Bosa.
Chase Young's
there,
contract.
but-
We'll see if they bring
Nick
him back.
Bosa's there. I mean, you can sit behind him if you want somebody opposite of Nick Bosa with huge upside. Why not? I think that's a sweet spot. Is 25 to 32.
If Chop Robinson, in all honesty, he's probably the best physical talent.
Yeah.
As far as just
He has it all. It's all
he
there.
has it all as far
He
as
has the
that
stuff
goes.
you can't teach.
Yes. But I mean, when you look at it, he had 15 tackles this year, only 4 sacks, did force 2 fumbles, but like the production's not there. He's 6'3", 250.
Yep.
I mean, PFF has him as a 90.8 and 92.3 in the pass rush.
Yeah.
But those numbers should be way higher with his ability. I mean, he's got elite get off. He's got a decent arsenal. He's still got some things he needs. He got a couple moves, but not enough yet. He's very bendy, freak athlete. Gonna probably run 4.6, probably sub 4.6. I would actually tend to lean to. The lack of production was the biggest negative for me. He's got a lean frame. His hand placement's not there. Doesn't set the edge very well, and his balance is questionable at times. He can't get put off balance. Very inconsistent. It's extremely raw. But I do have in my NFL components like a Josh Allen type. He's got
A raw guy.
a very raw Josh Allen, who could be better than Josh Allen if he develops the technique and really kind of dives in and learns the position.
Moving on here. So
Chop's hard for me. It's
yeah,
the most frustrating.
I think
prospect.
6 a good. I think 6 a good spot for him. I mean, obviously, I don't think he falls into the top 5.
I mean, in all honesty, he should be 1 or 2. With just because of the lack of production and just the rawness to it, it's tough for me. But I'll let you know. Who's your top 5 here?
My 5 here, starting with the 5, is Chris Braswell out of Alabama.
That's mine too.
Okay, so we got the last 3 here. Yeah. So maybe our top 4 is exactly what I thought it was going to be, or a complete opposite, actually, what I thought. But Braswell, he's a senior. He's played a lot of football at one of the best programs in the country.
I mean, they're known for being a good edge rusher.
Yeah, like this guy's going to play, and I think he's going to start right away somewhere. 6'3", 243, squats 705 pounds and cleans 405. Like, the dude is a fucking freak. He has a vertical of 38.5, so I'm going to be interested to see how he tests at the combine.
I'm curious what his actual weight is too. I've seen his weight be anywhere from 240 to 255.
Yeah.
If he comes in more 255, I mean that's more ideal.
Right. But let's get into his intangibles here a little bit. His footwork's very good. He has very good balance. He plays in pass coverage a decent amount. So
52 cents.
Yeah, I think maybe like
21 at slot corner.
Yeah, like him playing outside linebacker and in a 3-4 system, I think is going to fit perfect for him. He has very good closing speed. So just getting the guys on the outside, fluid movement. I think he can move around very well. His flexibility around the edge is very good. A couple things maybe to work on. Sometimes I think he's a little too aggressive with his playmaking. Maybe like overshooting the tackles a little bit. Maybe just breaking down a little bit better and just kind of just playing his game. I think maybe he just gets a little too ahead of himself. And then just his vision. I think he needs to work on his vision a little bit with as far as just not losing the play and just keeping it on the play. I think he has the physical tools across the board. I think he just needs to work on just simple things like his playmaking ability, making the tackle and stuff like that. He can go. I think this guy could play inside if he wanted to, or as far as linebacker.
Inside linebacker.
Yeah.
It's possible.
He's very good. He's a very good player. He's a very good prospect. I can see him kind of going somewhere around 20-ish in the first round if he goes in the first round.
Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked to see him go in the first round.
Yeah.
I don't think he's quite the athlete as some of the other guys are in this one. He had 42 tackles, 8 sacks, 3 forced fumbles, did have a pick. They said he played 52 coverage snaps, 21 slot corner, which that's always a fucking bonus if you have a guy who can cover a little bit. He's going to have 4 or 5 speed. He's pretty comfortable in coverage too.
Yeah.
Like he didn't play.
He doesn't shy from
shitty
it. He doesn't shy from it.
Yeah, they were solid. He's very quick off the line. He's got violent hands. I think you hit on what he squats. I have it at 705.
Yeah.
He's got good foot work. He's got decently long arms. He's got a very nice bull rush. Past the bull rush though, he needs to develop some finesse stuff there. He's more of a power rusher, which I'm a little surprised by the speed.
Yeah.
And I also have he needs to wrap up on his tackles. A lot of times he'll try to make the big hit and not wrap up and drive through.
Yeah.
So I do want to see him improve on that, which I think that's very easy to develop. He doesn't read misdirection plays very well. He kind of his eyes fool him a little bit. So that's you mentioned on his vision as well. It's very raw. I think he needs to get a little better on run defense as well. But my NFL comp on him, I have a Melvin Ingram on him.
I like that. Yeah. He's from Baltimore. I can see him. I think him going to Baltimore might be a good fit for him.
Yeah,
if he ends up there, if he falls that far. But I think that might be his best fit for team. Jumping into here to 4, we'll see if we have the same top 4 or not. I have Braylon Trice out of Washington.
We do not.
Okay. I like Trice. I think my favorite part about Trice's game is his effort. I think he shows up every play, plays very well. He has top tier speed. I think for an edge rusher, I like his speed. And he has very good power, so speed to power is very good.
I don't think it's that fast. Actually, I have him at like a 4.7.
Oh, really? I mean, just from watching him
Which,
play,
of course,
watching the play,
I think he plays faster than he actually runs.
Yeah, and I think that's not really a bad thing. So I think him playing fast is going to be a good thing, especially from transitioning the league. I think he'll do very well.
Yeah.
I think somebody gets him. Like he's a very good run defender too. I think he's very consistent in both avenues as far as the run game and pass game. That's why I like him in the 4 spot over Braswell in the 5, just because of the consistency going both directions. I think he's not going to wow you with his stuff at the combine. I don't think, but I think he's, as far as his motor, his effort, his consistency in both aspects of the game, I think he's going to do very well. That's why I have him at 5.
Yeah, I mean, for me, you have him at 4, but
or 4. Sorry,
I have him at 3. So
Yeah.
I'm actually higher on him than you are.
Okay.
87.2 on PFF, 95.
I think our 3-4 and never just swap then.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
6'4", 274, had 49 tackles, 7 sacks, forced a fumble, had 10 sacks last year or the year prior in 22. He's very good with his hands. He's a very good technician with his hands. He's got an elite motor, great in pursuit. He's very good against the run, has great strength, and really converts speed to power. Yeah. He played 52 coverage snaps, so he can drop. Cons for me, changing direction needs to get a little bit better. He doesn't anticipate the snap very well. At times he's very late on the snap. A little raw in the move sets and needs to develop a little bit there, and not super twitchy for me. But like I said, I have him at 3. I'm actually higher on him than you are.
Yeah.
I really like him. My comp on him is Brandon Graham. Brandon Graham's been a constant pro. I mean,
That's a great comp.
Yeah,
I mean, if you're going to want a comp, that's a good one to get. Yeah, I like him. I think he's going to be a very good fit for somebody. Jumping in my 3, who I think is probably
4.
Oh no, you didn't do your 4 yet. Sorry, yeah, I forgot.
My 4 is probably your 3.
That's what I was getting at. So
it's Leo Calavato.
Yeah,
I can't say his name. Yeah, 96.3 on PFF, highest rated in the pass rush. He's 94.3, which is number 1 coming out. He's 6'5", 265, 49 tackles, 13 sacks this year, 2 fumbles, 2 picks. The production's there.
Yeah,
absolute production built there. He had 10.5 sacks in 22, so it's not a 1-year flash in the pan with him. He's got the pro build at 6'5". He's a bigger guy, great burst. His lateral agility is probably arguably the best in this class. He's very good with his hands. I think Trice is better with his hands, but he's very, very good with it as well. I think Alto has a deeper arsenal of moves. I think he has more moves currently. He's got a very good motor. Only played 18 snaps in coverage. Not the end of the world. He at least has some experience there. My biggest con with him, obviously, is the medicals.
Yeah.
Obviously, he was forced to retire there in 2020. Did end up coming back. Not quite the athlete that I would like to see. He's a good athlete. He's got average arm length. Doesn't shed blocks in the run game real well. It's his biggest negative for me. And he will lose his discipline in gaps.
I think with Letu, my biggest thing on him, I think he's the best true pass rusher in this draft. If you're talking just pass rush, I think he's the best true pass rusher. My comp on him is Jaylen Phillips.
After Marcus Long or something.
Okay. Yeah, I see a lot of
Phillips.
Yeah, I see a lot of similarities. Phillips played at UCLA, right?
No,
Miami. That's right, Miami. Okay. I don't know why I got that mixed up, but I see a lot of similarities in their game. Obviously, I think he's working on the run game a little bit better, but I like him. I think somebody will be ecstatic to have him. But he's the best true pass rusher in the game. His reaction time, his first step, it's huge when you're a pass rusher. You're getting around the outside. Again, I'm going to keep saying best true pass rusher.
Yeah, and honestly, between 3 and 4,
not a whole lot.
There's not a whole lot different. The only reason I have Trice ahead is that injury concern.
Yeah,
that's the only reason. So our 4 and 3 are just switch. So let's just switch here. So let's go to 2. Number 2 for me was Jared Verse. 84.2 on the PFF, 90.9 on the pass rush, 6'4", 260, 41 tackles, 9 sacks, forced fumble, Pro Bowl, back-to-back 9+ sacks, or back-to-back 9 sack seasons. Probably gonna have 4.6 speed.
Yeah.
Obviously played high school here at Central Columbia, so he's a PA boy. He's got great get off, uses his hands very well. He's got a really nice cross drop and an arm over. His speed to power is probably the best in the draft. He's elite speed to power. He's got great bend. Good. He's almost considered good bend. He's a good bend, not great bend. He's very physical at the point of attack. He's got great strength and an absolute elite motor for me.
Yeah, he's great motor. I don't think anybody in college football has risen their draft stock than he has. Like, this dude went from an FCS player to potential top 10 pick.
Yeah.
I don't think he goes top 10 because all the talent's in the top 10, but top 15.
I think he's top 15.
Yeah.
20 for sure.
I think he's a weight room warrior. I think he's a very good pass rusher, and he plays the run very well. I think Jared Verse could play inside if he wanted to, but I think he's too valuable outside. He's he's strong, so I think he can hold his own playing inside if he wanted to. But I really, really like Jared Verse. Me being a Broncos fan, Broncos picking 12, if they were to go pass rusher, I would not be mad at that at all, because I think he's one of them guys that will change the change your culture too. I think he's a good locker room guy. So I think his value isn't really just on the football field. I think he's all around. He's going to be a very good player for you. But like I said, he's very consistent all around, high motor, and he's a weight room warrior, and that's kind of what you want in a defensive lineman.
Yeah, I mean, things for me that he needs to work on. He needs to play under control. He will lose himself on run plays. He'll run himself out of the play. He will gamble as well, and kind of lose that gap discipline. I think he needs an inside move counter. He is very good outside. He needs to learn that little inside counter move. Not elite length, kind of shorter arms. Not shorter arms, but not elite length arms. He's a little older too, which obviously goes to his journey as well as how good he is in the locker room. He will be 24 in November, so he's a little older coming out.
Yeah.
My comp on him is Ryan Kerrigan.
I actually have the same exact comp.
I see a lot of that in
him. I think it's kind of in his physical features too. Similarity to his play. Ryan Kerrigan was very good for a lot of years. So, I can definitely see that. And moving to 1, obviously we have the same number 1, unless you have something that wasn't in my top 10 that you haven't won for some reason. But I think that's true. Dallas Turner out of Alabama. I think Dallas Turner could have came out 2 years ago and been a top 10 pick.
Yeah, I really.
Dallas Turner is very, very good. I think guys have been really excited for. I mean, he's played a lot of football. He's played 3 years of football. He's a starter as a freshman. Played a lot of football with Alabama. I think last year you kind of would see him more like a stand-up 3-4 edge rusher kind of guy. What's that?
I think he can play here.
Yeah,
he's going to rub something.
I think last year that's what you see. He comes out, he's a 3-4 guy, maybe not as like obviously Will Anderson goes above him.
Yeah.
This year he bulked up a bunch. He got stronger. He got quicker. So I think he can do both. Like this guy is so versatile. He's what he can do. He's strong. Like he's going to come in. He's going to change your defensive line as soon as he gets there. I had him at 8 to the Falcons.
I do too.
And
I really
think,
like that.
Yeah.
I really like that, and I don't know if I could see a scenario where he gets past there.
Yeah, I don't think he
Especially
falls
with
past the
Raheem Morris
Falcons.
getting
Yeah, Raheem Morris, that's the kind of guy. D'Amico Ryans goes into Houston and gets Will Anderson.
Very similar.
Raheem Morris is a very similar situation. A locker room guy. You gotta get a freaking stud playmaker on the outside. Edge rushers will win you championships. 100%. It happens. Dallas Turner, not really a whole lot you can say about him. You could talk about him for a long time, but there's no question as to why he should be 1 or 2. He's 100% the one. He's the most versatile defensive end in this draft. He's very consistent in the run and the pass game. He's a very, very good edge rusher if he was just doing that, but he's bulked up a lot and he can play the run game very well.
Yeah, I mean, 53 tackles, 10 sacks, 2 forced fumbles this year. I honestly expect him to run sub 4.5, if not very low 4.5.
Yeah.
He's got good bend. He's an elite speed rusher. His dip and rip moves are absolutely impressive. They're some of the most refined in the class, as well as he does have a very, very nice ghost rush move.
Yeah.
Which that's an elite level move. That's a very tactician style move, very Von Miller. He made that move famous. He's a solid bull rusher, so he can give you that option as well. He's got good hands. He's got great leg drive. He's very physical at the point of attack. He's an elite athlete. I think he's one of the best athletes in the class. He also played 91 snaps in coverage, 18 at corner, so he can play that. He gives you that option. He's a 3-year player. Only started in 1 year, but he had 8.5 sacks as a true freshman.
Yeah.
So he's very good there. And he's only 20 years old.
I mean, he was starting meaningful football games for Alabama at 18.
Yes.
Like the dude is ready. Like he's ready. And you already said the name for my comp, but that's who my comp is. I have Von Miller as a comp.
Von Miller? Okay. I see it.
I think the size, I think Dallas Turner has more size, but Von Miller is very, very strong. Like he's a strong dude. Like the dude's legs are tree trunks. I think Dallas Turner is going to have that athleticism and that strength that Von Miller has. That's my comp to him. We'll see if he can make the big plays like Von Miller's made in his career. But Von Miller plays very good against the run, and he plays very good, and he's an elite pass rusher. He's lost it a little bit, but I think Dallas Turner, that's my comp on him.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't hate it, and I did consider Vaughn here. My cons on him I think he still needs to bulk up a little bit more in block shedding in the run game. He will tend to stop his feet in the run game. But my comp on him here it's a little bit weird. I have Brian Burns on him, but a much faster Brian Burns. I think he's better than Brian Burns.
A faster Brian Burns.
A faster Brian Burns is literally what I have wrote down.
Yeah.
So I do like Von Miller. There's a lot there. He has a very similar ghost move.
I hate giving people comparisons like that. Like Von Miller's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
I hate giving people comparisons like that, but I see it in this game. He has the potential to be just as good as Von Miller is.
He's the next great Alabama pass rusher in the league, and that worked out pretty damn well for the Texans this year. And I think he's very similar grade to him. Not quite he's just below Will Anderson for me, but not far behind.
Yeah, 100%.
All right, guys, that'll wrap it up. We appreciate it there. Make sure you like and subscribe. Thanks, guys. See you next week.